Hello, my name is Adam Kolb. I'm an agronomist with Country Vision's Co-op. I work out of the Valders location. Today we are in a soybean field outside of Chilton, and I wanted to take an opportunity to discuss with our growers some of the new technologies coming out in the soybean seed industry, as well as some of the different management practices that have come about and changed in the last few years. Obviously, one of the biggest issues that we run into in soybeans nowadays is our weed control, in particular broadleaf weed control of water hemp. This is largely because the water hemp has evolved and become resistant to Roundup, and we've had to look for new alternatives to control it. One of the biggest things that I've seen that's been successful is using both a pre-emergence and a post-emergence herbicide program to control the water hemp. We use a variety of products, but one of the ones that I found worked best this year was to use a product called Authority Assist at pre-emergence, and then to follow up with it post-emergence with Roundup, and then another residual product such as Outlook, as well as a broadleaf weed control herbicide like FlexStar. Kind of touching base on some of the newer technology that's come out in seed the last few years. Roundup Ready beans have been around for the better part of 15 to 20 years now, but what's came out recently was the Extend beans, and now in 2020 is going to be the first year that we'll have commercially available Enlist beans. So for those of you who may not know or haven't heard much about the Extend beans, those allow us the ability to spray dicamba on them. Unfortunately, this technology has proven to be difficult to implement in large-scale field applications, largely because of the drift issues that we run into with it and the potential that you cause of ruining a neighboring farmer's fields that may have non-Extend beans in them. The one that I'm getting excited about is utilizing the Enlist technology going forward in 2020. That's going to give us the ability to spray 2,4-D on the beans, and I think that's going to be a great tool in our toolbox to help control water hemp in the soybean fields. My strategy going forward for 2020 is to try to get half of my clients, half of their bean acres, to be planted to Enlist beans so that they can get familiar with using them and start to see the benefits that it may bring to their weed control program in their bean fields. We're going to probably try to put the Enlist beans on our acres where we know that we have water hemp pressure, and then if the farmer doesn't feel comfortable going all in on the Enlist traits, we'll use some of the Roundup Ready 2 technology on the fields where we know we have lower water hemp pressure. The other question that comes up quite a bit is what kind of row spacing and population works best. Most studies will show that there's really not a yield advantage between 7.5 and 15-inch beans. There does seem to be a little bit of an advantage between a 30-inch row bean as compared to the 15s and 7.5s. The other thing that's changed quite a bit in the last 10 years is how heavy we're planting our soybeans. When I first started 7 years ago, I was seeing farmers still planting well over 200,000 seeds per acre, and now I would say we're averaging around 170 to 160. It all depends on the farmer's level of comfort. The more modern drills and planters do a much better job of accurate seed depth placement, as well as singulating the beans in the rows. So that's largely how we've been able to get down to lower seeding rates. In conclusion, just to highlight some of the points that we talked about today, we have changing weed control programs going on with beans, largely to combat Roundup resistant weeds that have moved into our area. We're using a more full season approach with multiple modes of action, residual products, and one or more passes to control the weeds, and it's been proving effective. We're also utilizing more seed technology traits The majority of the traits now that we're using are Roundup Ready. We've got Extend Out and the Enlist, and we're still continuing to work with growers on changing up row spacing, row population, and continuing to learn as we go. So I hope you found this informational, and talk to your agronomist if you have any other questions.